Hey everyone, Jeff Schmidt here, Mindset and Performance Coach, and today's video is for Maria out of South Florida who asked a really insightful question over LinkedIn. She goes, how do you know when it's time to let someone go or maybe just move them into a different seat? Well, the way she phrased that question, it makes me think that she might be familiar with the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, where he talks about getting the right people on the bus and just as importantly in the right seat. I read that book like a million years ago, so when I heard that question, that was the first thing that came to mind. Well, the thing I want to say is that this challenge we're talking about is super common with leadership and entrepreneurs, especially when your business is growing, because you have so many moving parts and you're trying to balance these team dynamics with each person's strengths and knowing when the change is needed. This can all feel like, you're trying to solve a puzzle with the pieces like they're always shifting. So here's the process that I recommend. It's simple and it's very straight to the point. So here it goes. One is get very clear. If you're not already, get very clear on your company values. What are your company values? Do you have 3 of them? Do you have 5 of them? Do you have 7 of them? I say no more than 7 because that becomes a lot. So get clear on your company values. If you're not clear on your company values, or say your company doesn't have company values like listed out or written down, then I'm going to ask you to ask yourself, what are your values? Write down your top 7 values or your top 5 or the top 3 at the very least. Get clear on those. And the reason I'm saying that is because you're in a position of leadership. It's your business. So your business, your values, your business. So when you go to hire people, ideally you want to be hiring people onto your team that are cultural fits, ideally in alignment with the values. And why is that? Why is that so important? Because what it does is it helps to prevent so many issues that can happen down the line. Because one of the most expensive things in any business, and every business owner or anyone in leadership watching this will agree and know, because this is a fact, one of the most expensive things in business is terminating people, especially if that goes south or sideways. Because when you terminate someone, what happens? Well, you could have your state contacting you, asking you to fill out all kinds of forms, which is going to take up your time. And it's also going to take up your mental and emotional energy, because you just never know when the phone's going to ring with the state investigator or someone's going to walk through your front door. You just don't know because it's on their time. Number 2 is if you have to start paying unemployment. And as soon as you terminate someone and you do start paying unemployment, what immediately happens right after that? Well, your unemployment rate goes up. So now you're paying more money into the system than you previously were. So what is the message or meaning or whatever you want to call it behind this is to ideally be proactive on this. So if you do have to deal with this at some point in the future, it's going to be an exception to the rule. It's going to be a very rare case, as opposed to, we all know that there's businesses out there that have revolving doors and they have huge company culture issues and they're always hiring and they're always firing and there's always disconnect within the organization. I know this might sound crazy to say that this whole cluster of craziness can pretty much be solved by having clear company values. Then we can talk about mission and vision, making sure you have the right cultural fit. That saves so many issues. So let's assume you have the right cultural fit going on here. All right, you have this individual who's got great character, but they're really just not performing where you need them to be. So the question to answer there is, it's get them skills training, train them. If their skills need to get brought up, see what needs to be done to bring their skills up. Because I want to impress upon this too, and I think this is important, is if you have someone who is a true cultural fit, and you have a real team player, you have someone who's loyal, you have someone who cares about the organization, you have someone who you can trust, that's valuable. Don't lose that person if you don't have to. Do what you have to do to train them up. Because somebody who's been an entrepreneur since I was 24, I've hired so many people, worked with so many people, and I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this video can attest and agree. Finding these loyal gems are priceless. They need to be embraced. You need to keep them close. And like to your question, those are the people that if you can't get their skills up and you can't get them trained to reach the standard that you need for that particular position, then by all means, find another seat on the bus for them. Other seats on the bus are reserved for the team members who are cultural fits in the organization. Cultural fits. You don't just find those every single day. So when they show up and you've got this cultural fit on your team, yeah, figure out how to work with that person 110%. Now, as far as like the skills and everything, like I said, that's going to come down to training. So let's go to the next part here. So we talked about cultural fit, actually. I think we went down the rabbit hole a little bit on that one, but I think it was a good rabbit hole. The next thing is to be very clear on the job description. So as a leader, it always falls on our shoulders. It's really important that when you're creating these job descriptions, you're being as descriptive as possible. Like in these scenarios, I always suggest to my clients to over-communicate as opposed to under-communicate. Because under-communicating opens up the door to, well, nobody told me this. How many times have we heard that? Nobody told me that, or I didn't know, or how was I supposed to know? Guess what? If they're right, they're right. If they weren't told, or they weren't instructed, or they weren't guided, then yeah, nobody likes to hear those phrases, but technically they have a right to say them. So I think it's very important to, at the risk of being accused as an over-communicator, is to over-communicate. Because at least that way, you're saying what needs to be said. You're being ultra clear. So to recap, and kind of like just put this all in a bow, terminate or move to another seat. Terminate in the event when the person is not a cultural fit. If the work is substandard, the performance is substandard, and they're not a cultural fit, then the decision to terminate, I think, becomes pretty obvious at that point. If they are a cultural fit and it's just a skills issue, one, see if you can train them up to get them to where you need them to be, to reach your standard, or B, find another position for them if one can be created. So I hope that helps to answer your question. And for anyone else out there watching this video, if you have questions about business, now my specialty is mindset and performance. That's what I choose to focus on. But keep in mind, I've started, built, grown, scaled 3 businesses over the past 25 years. I've built sales teams. I've built shipping and receiving in my way, you name it. And things that everything that pretty much goes into the cosmetics industry, the surfing industry, home goods industry, and there's a few others, crafted in between there that I've been involved in. So if you have business questions or mindset performance questions, by all means send those over, and I'll see what I can do about shooting a video for you. So in the meantime, if you're watching this on YouTube or any social media platform that has like a like, subscribe, comment, one of those, please do all 3. Thanks so much for watching. That's all I got. Have a great day.